Dr. Wu here. What you're about to see is a presentation, a mini workshop that I do at my center every Wednesday night. And this is a very important type of workshop that I teach. It involves moving the energy through the system and starting to develop your spiritual digestive system. So we've got this coming up for you. It's a great presentation, and it's something that you're going to learn and start to embody it and grow from this. Here we go.
You're on.
Welcome to the center. The center's run by Dr. Santz, Andy Santz, and he's a chiropractor, and myself, Woody Swartz, known as Dr. Woody. I'm an acupuncture physician and trained in many aspects of Chinese medicine. There's 5 different aspects of Chinese medicine. You all know about acupuncture, because that's what we hear about. We all know about herbology, because we hear about that too. There's a form of massage called Tui Na, pushing and pulling. It opens up the energy. And then the 2 other branches are hardly mentioned in Chinese medicine. They're Qigong, which is getting more popular right now. And besides Qigong, there's the meditation. Chinese medicine used to be this big. When Chairman Mao started to take over China, what they did is they cut off all the spiritual aspects and they tried to make it more on the medical model, and they brought it to the West thanks to Richard Nixon. That's one of the good things he did, you know, back in the days, late 50s, something like that. So that was considered a cultural revolution, and they took a lot of things out of Chinese medicine that we'd all like to know, because it rounds out the thing and keeps us healthier: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, psychological. We tried to get rid of that and just do medical. So the herbology has more of the spiritual in it and goes back to the old ways. More of Chinese medicine, old Chinese medicine, you can find in Japan, and you can find it in Toronto, in Canada. You can find it in San Francisco. You can find it in Taiwan, because in China it sort of disappeared. Not really disappeared, it went underground because there was a lot of persecution, Chinese, cultural revolution. So my studies for the last 30 years has been not only Chinese medicine, per se, and licensed as an acupuncture physician, but a lot of the old ways. I studied Tibetan Buddhism, because a lot of those teachings that were up in the mountains, way away from the population, that was the Buddhist ways, which involved a lot of meditation and opening up. So I use those and teach those, a form of Tibetan Buddhism, a form of Taoism. The emphasis when I was younger was martial arts, because that's what we do when we're young. It's like, oh. As we get older, all of us will notice we sort of switch from the martial aspect of trying to, break and do, boards and break arrows and that. We get more into the healing aspect. Why? Because as we get older, we start to get more aches and pains too. And our friends around us, they start to get more aches and pains. So it's good to know the healing aspect and the energetic aspect. When we're looking at energy, usually, if it's good energy, we take it in. Ooh, good energy, right? This is great. If it's bad energy, we're trying to push that away or get away from it. But it's all energy. So if it's good, we take it in. Bad, we try to repel it. But if it's all energy, if I say, oh, it's a horrible day, it's raining out, but you have a garden and you have about 3 acres and it's drying out, and all of a sudden it's raining, you're going, oh, it's a blessed day, it's raining, it's going to water my tomatoes because I have a crop to sell. So I'm thinking it's a bad day because I want to go to the beach and lay there, right? And you're thinking it's a great day because you don't have to get big flood hoses and so this is saving you a lot of time. So it's all relative if it's good or bad, Now, when you're looking at energy, there's some energy centers in the body. There's one on the top of the head. This relates to the one at the perineum, right at the bottom, because it's called the Tai Chi Pole. And from the very top of the head to the very bottom there, if we put a stick right through, a steak, put you on a barbecue, turn you around like that.
Thanks for the vision.
But the idea is that pole, that Tai Chi pole, runs through your whole center, so that gives you your equilibrium. If it's off, you're going to be, you're going to be out of balance. Something's going to happen. So we're always working with that center. Some of the spinning exercises help you, like the Sufis do. When they're spinning like that. In fact, when you're little, when you're a little kid, one of the things that's fun to do is go in the backyard, spin as many times as you can, lay on the grass and watch the right? And then you get up and then you spin the other way and the world goes and you go, oh man, that's so much fun, let's do it again. So there you're out with your brothers and sisters or playmates and you're playing that game. Now you become 30 and you don't spin. Why would you spin? That's not because when I spin I get dizzy and I get this, I get disoriented, and I don't want to spin. You spin by drinking alcohol now. So we avoid that, but what happens is that's what keeps our equilibrium, and it keeps you younger. Because if you still spin, not all the time, but once in a while, what happens, you spin, the world goes, and then you get your balance. You spin the other way, and then you get your balance. It's one of the exercises that I teach. I start people out, you spin 3 times in one direction, you stop, and then you spin 3 times in the other direction. Maybe the next day you do 6, and then you build up to 21 times in each direction. So what it does, it balances that pole. So you start to get balance. If you notice when you see older people walking, you know how they're walking, they're very careful. Why are they careful?
Since the balance
they're afraid they're going to fall.
Yeah.
They're afraid if they fall, they're going to break their hip. They're afraid if they get their hip, they're going to put them in a wheelchair. And they're afraid they're going to take them from the wheelchair and put them in the ground. Right? That's what happens. Oh no, because if you're walking and you're moving and you're getting exercise, everything's beating, that digestion. And if you're stuck in a chair, things aren't going to work as well for you. And you have a tendency to get sick. And when you're older, things don't work. So you're going down the scale. So as you do those spinning exercises, what they do is they start to balance your equilibrium. And what happens, you're not as cautious when you walk. Why? Because you're more grounded. Something moves you like this, you'll say, oh, it's a spinning exercise, and you just come right back. So you start to work like a gyroscope instead of doing what I call the Miami Shuffle. You ever see the Miami Shuffle? You've seen it.
Is it a show?
It goes like this. You know how a person's walking like that? Because they're afraid they're going to fall, right? Now, if you're spinning and you're moving like this, you equalize, then you spin the other way. Okay, so we don't do that as adults. Why don't we do that? Because we're afraid we're going to fall. But as you do that, like did you ride a bicycle?
Yeah, and I did that just before coming here, just took my son and spun a lot of times.
Right.
We both stood there, we both were like, whoa.
Yeah, right.
So
well then, what it does, it balances you. It balances you. But your parents probably don't spin.
Sure. Oh, they definitely don't.
My parents definitely aren't spinning.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's an important exercise. It's very simple, but it's something to incorporate into your daily practice. And then when you start to walk after you're grounded, you'll feel there's more bounce in your step and more energy. So that's one, that Tai Chi Pole, top of the head and the perineum. These energy centers that go through the body, there's many of them. There's one right at the third eye point. There's one at the throat center. There's one at the heart. There's one at the solar plexus. There's one at the navel and one at the sex center, including the top and the bottom. And they're spinning like a vortex of energy. They call them chakras. So you have this spinning energy. and they're spinning, and they spin at different rates and different sizes, and they're all through the body. So you can imagine, here's a full of energy, and now you have this other energy spinning around that pole. So if you get something spinning around a pole, and this is the positive and the bottom is the negative, you start to send out an electric charge of energy. You know, like anything else. If you had a magnetic pole and things spinning around it, you'd start to generate electricity. So you'd send out this energy, and that energy in man, it comes off as colors, it comes off as an aura. If you ever see a picture of any of the saints or any of the angels, they all have colors around them. Right?
Yeah.
You know, you see a halo, or you go to the museum and you see a picture, there's a halo. If you see Buddha's got a halo, Jesus has a halo, they all, you know, here's God, he's got a big, you know, he's always depicted with a halo of energy or lights around him, you know. I remember in one of the stories they said, well, how do you know that's the Buddha? Or which one of those is the Buddha over there? They said, oh, it's the one with the lights around him. Okay, the reason those lights spin, because we all have those lights, sometimes you'll see it in people, or sometimes you'll just see somebody and you'll feel good, you'll want to be around that person. Why do you want to be around that person? Because they have a good energy, you just feel, you know, it's like, whoa, how are you doing? You just want to be around them, because their energy is so good, they're just, they're vibrating energy. And you just go, oh man, it's so nice to meet you. Such a great guy, such a wonderful woman. Oh, you're such nice people. Because people feel that energy pattern. What happens sometimes, we get depressed, or we get sick, or something happens in our life. And instead of all of those things spinning, what happens is they start to contract. Not all at once, but instead of the aura spinning out here, it's like, you know how a person will contract. You know, you're a little frightened, so everything pulls in, right? If you're happy and you feel good, and you know somebody just handed you a check for $100,000, and you know somebody sees you and they go, wow, you really look great. You're really beautiful. You know, I love your skin, I love your hair, and you're going, oh. Right? We're feeling great. Then the aura starts to open up. And the more often you get in a place where you're really feeling good, the bigger that aura gets. You know? And if every day somebody says, wow, you are so beautiful today. Here's another $100,000. You're going, man, I'm feeling great. You know? And this happens all the time. Now, in the beginning, you're just going, whoa, but let's say it happens every day. After a couple months, you're going to say, well, that's just the way it is. Every day, somebody tells me I'm beautiful and hands me $100,000. Whoa! You know, when I'm on my 50th day. This is great, right? So we're open. But a lot of times in life, what happens is people go, you know, you need to wash your hair. You know, you owe me. You owe me, you gotta pay, you know, you forgot, oh, you got a flat tire, oh, I can give you a new tire, but you need a rim too, because you broke your rim too. So not only is it a $100 tire, but you got a $300 rim, so you got $400. So you're going, oh man, $400, it was only a little nail, and I only drove 2 blocks, but you crushed the rim and that's it, and you screwed up the axle, so you got about a $4,000 job here, and you're going, oh man, you know, all I did was drove a block. You know, that happens too. So that's the negative aspect. Hi, welcome.
How are you?
Good.
In here?
Wherever you'd like. That's the negative aspect of energy. We're just talking about energy, positive and negative energy, and then how we're going to use that energy. So I'll review real quick for you. We're talking about different centers. One on top of the head, the third eye, the throat, the heart, solar plexus, navel, sex center, and the perineum. And then how the energy, how those chakras spin around, and when somebody's doing wonderful things for you, you open way up. When people start to do something that, you know, you're a little confronted, we close down our energy fields. So what this type of meditation does, it teaches you how to use these energy centers so you can balance them out. If this one's really open and your third eye is open and you're seeing all these visions, but these are closed, what happens is you're lofty in the clouds and you can't really function on the earth. If this one's really open, you know, you're grounded center, you're grounded to the earth, you have everything together, you're stable, you're grounded, everything's fine. But this is closed. That means you become more indulgent in material things, and you're closed up here. Your heart's closed, you're not able to give. So the idea is, if we can keep all of them open and balanced, we become a balanced person, and we can take in energy no matter if it's loving energy or if it's what appears to be negative energy. It's all energy. There's a teacher, he wrote a book called Spiritual Cannibalism, and when we hear the name, we go, spiritual cannibalism, whoa! A guy, Swami Rudanandra, he passed away about 30 years ago. He had a plane accident. But he talks about how it's all energy, no matter negative or positive, and what we want to do is we want to eat the energy no matter what it is. So if the energy is coming into your life and it's overwhelming, something happens, you lost your job, you don't have enough money, your dog ran across the street, the car hit it and squashed it, it's like all these things are going on, and it appears to be all negative, right? But there's energy there, there's a lot of energy in that, and mostly in our lives, I shouldn't say mostly, a lot of us, we feel every day some form of negative energy. Somebody's doing something that appears to be not something that you want. I mean, other days, things happen that are good, you know? Your husband wakes up and says, "Oh, I love you so much." You go, "Oh, cool, I'm still hot." You know? You walk down the street and somebody else goes, "Epa!" You know, you're going, "Whoa! Not only me tell me hot, something can go, yeah." So we're starting to feel good. So I'm going to give you a way to take energy, no matter negative or positive, and transform it so you can use it. Negative energy is like fertilizer. So we need fertilizer in our garden to make things grow, but we also need sunshine. So it's the balance of the positive and the negative that keeps everything well. And using this chakra system, we can start to move that energy. So this Swami, by the name of Rudanandra, or Swami Rudi, if you get a chance to pick up that book called Spiritual Cannibalism, you'll enjoy it. It has some really interesting concepts. And I want to show you a few energy exercises that he does, and then how you can use that for your growth. Last week, we did a lot of Qigong exercises, and this week we're going to get more into the internal stuff, and then we'll keep building on that, on how we use this type of energy for our personal growth. So the exercise is simple. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Anybody left-handed? You're all right-handed? Okay, I'm the only one left-handed. Okay. So you're going to use your left dominant hand. Okay, I'll use my left too, pretending I'm right-handed. They tried to make me right-handed when I was in school. They did.
They used to.
Yeah, they used to. They tried to make me right-handed. I was rebellious through the whole process. But anyway, that's how it went. So anyway, you take your less negative, your less dominant hand, and what I want you to do is just put it on the top of your head. And you're going to bring it down to the point right between your eyebrows, and down to your throat, bring it down to your heart, down to the solar plexus, down to your navel, down to the sex center, and around your crotch, and imagine